On January 3, 2026, this morning, the United States launched airstrikes on Venezuela. President Trump claims Nicolas Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, have been captured and are now on a U.S. warship. Within hours, 5 major news organizations told 5 completely different stories about what just happened. Same facts, same military action, entirely different realities. And what you're about to see will show you exactly how power manufactures truth in real time. Here's what everyone agrees on. Early Saturday morning, January 3, 2026, U.S. military forces conducted airstrikes on Venezuela. President Trump announced that Nicolas Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, have been captured. They're reportedly on the USS Iwo Jima. Maduro faces drug trafficking charges in New York. Trump stated the U.S. would run Venezuela temporarily during transition to democracy. And here's the critical detail. Congressional Armed Services Committees were not notified beforehand. No congressional authorization, no debate, just action. These are the facts, verified, undisputed. Now watch what happens when 5 different institutions tell you what it means.
Fox News called it Operation Absolute Resolve. They're framing a successful mission bringing a narco-terrorist to justice. They emphasized Maduro's drug trafficking charges, calling him the leader of a criminal cartel disguised as a government. Their coverage celebrated swift military action, Trump as decisive commander-in-chief, no hesitation, no weakness. The message was clear. America took out a drug lord threatening our hemisphere. They downplayed congressional notification issues, framing it as necessary operational security. You don't ask permission to catch criminals, you act. Fox's narrative serves a specific interest, justifying executive power, military intervention, and Trump's authority to act unilaterally. The facts are real. The framing manufactures consent for authoritarianism. CNN took a completely different angle. Their coverage focused on constitutional concerns and lack of congressional authorization. They highlighted Democratic lawmakers expressing shock and alarm. Questions about legality dominated their framing. They featured legal experts discussing War Powers Act violations, international law concerns, the precedent this sets. CNN treated this as a potential constitutional crisis, not a military victory. Their tone was cautious, emphasizing the process that wasn't followed rather than celebrating the outcome. They're protecting institutional norms, congressional authority, checks and balances. CNN's narrative serves establishment liberalism, maintaining that institutions and processes matter more than outcomes. They're defending the system against executive overreach. Al Jazeera, broadcasting from Qatar, called it a dramatic attack and emphasized the Venezuelan perspective. Their coverage highlighted international shock, accusations of American imperialism, and violation of sovereignty.
They featured regional responses, Latin American leaders condemning the action, international law experts calling it illegal. The framing wasn't about drug trafficking, it was about American military aggression and regime change. Al Jazeera's narrative serves international audiences skeptical of U.S. power. They're telling the story the American outlets won't, that this looks like empire, not justice. PBS focused heavily on congressional backlash. Their coverage featured lawmakers from both parties expressing concern about not being notified. They emphasized institutional process, the breakdown of normal procedures, and bipartisan unease. They treated it as a story about American democratic institutions under stress, not about Maduro or Venezuela, about what happens when the executive branch acts without legislative input. PBS's narrative serves public broadcasting's mission, defending institutional legitimacy and governmental norms. They're the voice of how government is supposed to work being violated. So here's what just happened. 5 outlets, same military action. 5 completely different stories. Fox told you, successful operation against drug lord, be proud, support strong leadership. CNN told you constitutional crisis, institutions under threat, process matters. NPR told you it's complicated, multiple perspectives, think carefully. Al Jazeera told you American imperialism, illegal aggression, international victims. PBS told you democratic norms violated, congressional authority ignored, institutions failing. None of them are lying about the facts. Strikes happened, Maduro captured, Congress not notified. These are all true, but each outlet constructed a different reality by choosing which facts to emphasize, which questions to ask, which experts to feature. And here's what makes it insidious. Audiences of each outlet believe they know what happened. They don't realize they've been given a carefully constructed version designed to serve specific institutional interests. But here's what none of them are really asking. Why now? Why Venezuela? What interests does this serve beyond drug trafficking? Venezuela has the world's largest proven oil reserves. The U.S. has been trying to remove Maduro for years through sanctions, attempted coups, and diplomatic pressure. Now, suddenly, military action without congressional approval. Who benefits? What corporations? What geopolitical interests? What does temporarily running Venezuela actually mean? Who's in charge? Who's getting contracts? These questions aren't being asked because they reveal the actual power structures at work. It's easier to debate whether Congress should have been notified than to ask whose interests are really being served. This is how modern information control works, not through censorship, through selective framing. The facts are reported, the meaning is manufactured, and the meaning always serves power. Fox serves executive authority and conservative movement. CNN serves institutional liberalism. NPR serves educated professional class. Al Jazeera serves international skepticism of U.S. power. PBS serves governmental norms. Each tells part of the truth, but the specific part you see determines your reality, and your reality determines what actions seem justified, what questions seem important, what power structures remain invisible. This happened today. Right now, narratives are solidifying, realities are being constructed, and most people will never know they're only seeing one carefully manufactured version. Now you know. What are you going to do about it?